Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over this light that you see in my hand right here and that you guys saw throughout the intro. This is the Surefire EDCL2-T, so there's a lot going on there. It's Surefire's new 1200 lumen EDC light. So 1200 lumens is a lot for sure, and this one also has a pretty bright hotspot, which we're going to get to here in just a second. But basically we're going to do some beam comparisons, let the dogs check it out, make sure we're good there and they approve of it, get into the details of the light, what makes it unique, its operating system, which I really do like, other details about it, and then at the end I guess we'll let you know what we think of it overall. But let's check out those beam comparisons and then get on with it. For those of you guys new to the channel, that fence right there where the wooden portion meets up with the iron portion, that is approximately 35 feet away, and those dogs that you see there are our guest models here for today's video. You guys can see this is what it looks like on low. I tried to make the camera as close to what you see in real life as I see here in my eyes. This is on high. You can see it is completely different. A totally different output level. We do have a little bit of a hot spot there in the middle, and then a nice wide, also very bright spill area. So that is a lot of light coming at you there with that pattern. Now, just to kind of give you a contrast with another light out there on the market, here we have the Olight. This is the Warrior. I'll try to not strobe it. Again, this is another one of those lumen monsters, but you can see the beam pattern there is very different. Mr. Cooper there is trying to get all the camera attention. But so over on the left here, this is the Surefire, and then the Olight. So you can see there's also a color difference as well between the two. Again, we have the output from the EDC light, and just to compare it to something there, Cooper is having all kinds of fun out there. We have the Surefire. This is the X300 500 lumen model, and you guys can see just how different the beam pattern is there with a much brighter hotspot, or tighter hotspot, I guess I should say. And it's a little bit more throwy, a little bit less spill versus what we have here with the EDC light. And this one here, try to see how they look. This is the X300 here on the fence, and then over here is the EDC. The EDC, to me, the color of it looks a little bit more natural. Not sure if it comes across in the camera, but that's just sort of how we can compare them. Getting into the details on the light, we'll start here at the back and sort of work our way forward. The tail cap of the light has a ton going on, and it's very smartly designed if you're going to use this for everyday carry and everyday carry tactical type of role, i.e. you might have to blind somebody, but 95% of the time you pull it out, you don't need to, and you just need to basically look for the AR detent that you lost across the room. So with that in mind, it does have the option for either tail cap up or bezel up carry. I tend to prefer tail cap up, but pulling it out, this is how it would be in my hand. At this point, if you do a light press on the tail cap, you're going to see a 5 lumen output come out, and then a hard press, that's going to give you those 1200 lumens that you guys saw out there. So that is how it works, just in terms of pulling it out and very instantly needing that bright light to momentarily stun someone, move offline, and those sorts of things. Now, if you want constant on, you can twist it a little bit, and you guys can see again, there's our 5 lumen output. Twist it a little bit more, and then it'll give you the consistent 1200 lumen output. Now, this does operate on 2 CR123 batteries that are included with it. With that 5 lumen output, it's going to give you 60 hours of runtime, and at the 1200 lumens, it's going to give you 1 hour of runtime. I will tell you, it does get pretty hot after about 5 or 6 minutes when you run it on high. Just something to keep in mind when operating the light. I mentioned the clip already, but it does have a 2-way clip, meaning you can either carry a tail cap up or bezel up, and that allows you to do so, being that you can go through the outside, and when you do that, it's going to just have basically your tail cap sticking outside of the top of your pocket. If you want to go bezel up, you're going to have, of course, a little bit more exposed. That's just sort of user preference and how you guys like to access your light. But if you want to swap it out for one of Surefire's other clips, you can do so. So moving on to the body of the light, again, it does have 2 CR123s in there, and it has very good knurling on there. It's aggressive. It's going to stick in your hand. It's not going to slip around, which I do like as well, and it has good milling here on the sides to try to cut down on the weight of the light. So overall, it's a nice streamlined aluminum lightweight package, and in the hand definitely feels good. The light does break down into three main components. We have our head here, which we haven't covered yet. We have the tail cap that we did. And then, of course, the body, you'll see that it does have good lubrication from the factory. On the threads are also O-ring sealed so that we don't have to worry about it getting wet or dying out on you or anything like that. You'll see there, as we saw outside, it has a TIR reflector. Now that reflector is sort of more classic in the Surefire line in that it's going to give you good throw. What it's also going to give you is very good peak candela. For an EDC light, that's important because while the throw may not be super important to a lot of people, that candela certainly is. That candela is what's going to give you that momentary blindness when you're shining it in someone's face, and gives you the opportunity and the advantage from a tactical perspective, which certainly is good. I should also note that it does have a little bit of crenellation there on the bezel, but not a lot, not so much like some of the older lights that would sort of cut into your pants or anything like that. It's smooth, but it's not flat either, so it is going to give you a little bit of an advantage. If you had to pop somebody with it, it would get their attention for sure. The size of the light is both a pro and a con in my opinion. Of course, the overall length being 5.84 inches is pretty long for an EDC style light, but some guys are fine with it. And if you are, the advantage of course is that you get the 2 cells, and you also get a very good striking capability, and it's very ergonomic. I have large hands, and you guys can see there it's still sticks out a good bit, so if I wanted to use it as an impact weapon, certainly could do so very easily. Now, of course, the con of that is that it's going to stick out farther than some of the other lights, even with the dual clip like we have here with this backup MV rather. This is a light I carry often. I have a full review on, but you guys can see just the depth of the clip allows it to be carried a little bit deeper, but in terms of width and thickness, very similar in that regard. Then we have our G2X here, totally different light, but just trying to give some comparisons across the board. This one here is going to have that polymer body, and it's going to have the max vision reflector on there, so very different than the TIR. It's going to be a much wider output rather than having that concentrated throw. Same here with the Tactician, which yes, I will be reviewing, guys, stand by, but you guys can see there how they compare size wise. Of course, the light we have here is going to give you 1200 lumens versus the 800 on the Tactician, and the Tactician also has that max vision head, so the output's going to be very different in that regard. And for folks who haven't seen any of Surefire's new lights, this is one of their older ones here. It's the 6PX Defender, a very common light that folks are going to use either for EDC or weapon lights. It has that 1-inch body for weapon mounting. Of course, you could mount this absolutely to a weapon if you wanted to. It's just not its primary role, but you guys can see the bezel there is much larger as well as the body. In the intro, we rolled a few different scenes in where we're drop testing it. You guys have probably seen some nicks on the body throughout the video with the close-up shots. So in terms of durability, we've had a grand total of 0 issues, which is exactly what you'd expect from Surefire. Anybody who's been watching the channel for a while knows that that's not always the case with some of the other lights that are coming in from overseas. Some of them are very good, but some of them are not. With Surefire, it's just something you never have to question. They're all very well made, very durable, very rugged, and that's built into the design from the start. So, like I said, overall, I really like the ergonomics of it. There's no getting around it. Now, some folks just aren't going to like the size of it. That's just fine. Some folks are going to love the size of it. That's just fine as well. It's all individual preference. They do make a shorter version. They make a EDC2-T or something like that, which is a single cell. I think it has 500 lumens. So if you want something a little bit shorter, but still has that similar beam pattern, they do offer that as well. But this one here comes in at $159 street price now, so it's certainly not inexpensive at all. Again, just like that durability that you expect with Surefire, generally speaking, you don't expect a very low price, but very well made. It's something that you absolutely can stake your life on, at least in my opinion, and it will work when you want it to, for sure. If you guys have any questions about the light that we didn't cover here in the video, you can always post those down below in the comment section. As always, you can also post over at my Facebook page as well. That's generally speaking the best way to get in touch with me. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're new to the channel here with this video, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope to see all of you in the next video. This is flashlight testing at its finest.